Wake up. It's just a prank. My girlfriend and friends blocked my door with 20 pounds of oatmeal, then went to breakfast without me. Now I'm reconsidering everything. We're both in our mid-20s, and I live in a townhouse. My girlfriend and I have a mutual friend who's going to be away for work for a while. She had been asking me all week to go for breakfast with them. I was against it because they wanted to meet at 6:30 a.m., and I usually work late. I suggested 4 different days for dinner, but our friend declined. After more begging, I gave in because it seemed important to my girlfriend to catch up with our friend and their significant other at breakfast. I wake up at 6:15 a.m. to knocking on the door, and when I opened it, I saw an 8-foot-tall stack of red Solo cups filled with oatmeal, completely blocking the entrance. I sighed and immediately closed the door. This is the only way in and out of my house. I checked my security camera and saw them taking pictures and laughing outside. The 3 of them texted me to come out for breakfast but made no attempt to clear the door, probably hoping I'd make a mess by pushing through it. I turn the lights out and go back to bed so they leave. When I wake up, the tower is still there. It takes me about 20 minutes and 4 whole garbage bags to clean up what must have been over 20 pounds of oatmeal, not to mention the mess it made on my front porch and on the carpet in my entryway. I had planned on taking the girlfriend to an NHL game tomorrow, which would have costed me at least $100 in tickets, parking, food, etc. Now I have no desire to see or talk to her. I'm absolutely livid, because it brings me back to high school where my car and house used to be vandalized in similar ways: saran wrap, Vaseline, toilet paper, etc. I feel like this was probably meant as a harmless prank, but my instinct is to react harshly and be nasty to her, which I know isn't the healthiest way to handle things. I just want to know if I'm justified and how I should approach this situation calmly and maturely without escalating it, while still making it clear how disappointed I am in her. TLDR, my girlfriend and friends tricked me into thinking we're going for breakfast, then completely block my front door with a tower of red Solo cups filled with oatmeal, laugh about it, and leave me to clean up the mess. Relevant comments. OOP on why he dislikes pranks. Back in high school, one of the many pranks played on me involved my house being paintballed and egged. My car was saran wrapped and covered in Vaseline, the lawn was forked, and our 25-foot tree was covered with toilet paper. We had a patrol car on our street every night for a week after that to prevent it from happening again. It caused me a lot of anxiety. I couldn't sleep, always worrying about whether my car would be messed with or what my parents must think when someone hated me enough to do something so pointless. I'm going to tell her this, and explain why their little joke is so upsetting to me. Depending how she responds, I am willing to end the relationship over this. I thought after how long we had been dating that she had the insight to stop for a second and realize that I wouldn't think this was funny. And I'm not holding the history against her, because she didn't know, but I feel like the rest of it is still a really bad look. She woke up early to help prepare, set everything up, laughed and took pictures when I opened the door, and then quickly jumped in the car to go have breakfast with the others. No apology, no message to check how I was doing, no offer to help clean up, nothing. Later, she texted, "Are you still mad?" but didn't actually do anything to fix the situation. The crepes on her Snapchat story looked good, but since I wasn't there, I can only assume they were. I expect better from her. She's always been sweet, we rarely argue, but if this is something she's willing to stand firm on, I'm not backing down. If she can act this way over something so trivial, do I really want to face the bigger issues with her? 328-342-6546. Yeah, it would have been a prank if they had helped clean up the mess they caused. It's not funny when they just leave you and presumably go out to eat afterward. That wouldn't sit well with me. OOP. They all went out to breakfast together afterward. 328-342-6546. I'd be hurt. I'm sorry that happened to you. Have you talked to her since? OOP. This afternoon, she sent 2 texts, "Babby, are you still mad?" and "Friend said you would think it was funny," and I was like, okay. I responded with a long message explaining why I hate pranks like this, told her I was disappointed in her for trying to avoid responsibility, and how she should have known I wouldn't appreciate it. I also explained that I had to clean up the whole mess myself and told her we wouldn't be going to the NHL game. She hasn't replied yet, though she might still be at work, as she went in late to accommodate the breakfast, but I'm sure she's seen it. Update. She replied after she got home from work yesterday. I told her I didn't want to see her and she could text me whatever apology she had to say, but she came over anyways. She said the prank wasn't her idea, but agreed to let them use her house to prep for it. She claims to have questioned going through with it, but my friend, who has known me significantly longer than her, insisted I would think it was funny, so she deferred to him. I told her I expect better from her and that I expect her to stand up for herself. She went on to say she would never have pulled the prank or allowed it to happen if she knew my history with things. She didn't identify the major issues with the scenario on her own, having me wake up early for a breakfast I didn't want to go to for her just to be pranked, having to clean it up by myself while they went to breakfast, and her not checking up on me at any point. I told her one mistake was understandable. I told her more than one mistake is understandable, but I pointed out along every step of the prank that there were easy things she could have done to make it right but didn't. I asked her how she could make such an obvious series of mistakes one after the other with someone she claims to love. Apparently she asked some of her girlfriends for advice on what to do, friends unrelated to the story, and they told her to give me space. She was very persistent in apologizing, saying she wasn't perfect but would always learn from her mistakes. I'm still upset with her, but we're on better terms now. If this was the only issue she'd caused in the relationship, I would have been much harsher and might have even broken up with her, but I honestly think that would be a waste in this case. If she continues to make such thoughtless mistakes, though, she'll likely find herself in trouble. The reasoning behind her actions and how everything unfolded wasn't right, but I can somewhat understand it. On another note, our mutual friend texted me the link to this post late last night, claiming he found it while casually browsing Reddit. He acknowledged that, if he'd known the full history, he wouldn't have gone along with it, but didn't address any of the other points I mentioned, which many of you commenting pointed out. I replied briefly, then stopped responding because I wasn't impressed by his half-hearted apology. I've known this guy for years, and I don't know what part of him thought I'd find a huge mess like that funny. Second story. I secretly tested my boyfriend's gift-giving skills on Christmas. Here's how it went. Let me explain. I've had some bad experiences with ex-boyfriends and their gift-giving. I'm a thoughtful gift giver myself, whether it's for Secret Santa or a regular occasion. I always pick something practical that anyone would actually use, not random junk from the checkout aisle or gift sets that just end up collecting dust. So, my new boyfriend, we've been together since September, is a great guy, and I'm really happy with him. I'm excited that this is our first Christmas together, though we're doing our own private celebration today since we both have big families, especially since he says he's a big Christmas fan like me. But, past experiences have made me cautious. While I want to believe he's good at picking gifts, I decided to have a backup plan. Under my tree, I have two gifts for him, one that's simple but he'll like, and one that's more special and harder to find, which he'll love. So, I plan to open my gifts first, and based on what I get and the effort he put in, I'll decide which gift to give him when it's his turn. Everything I bought is still within the return window, just in case. I want to make it clear, this isn't about how much money is spent, but whether he really thought about it, paid attention, and took the time to choose something meaningful. I've spent hours thinking and planning gifts, collecting items if I need to, etc., only to be given a gift card to the fucking mall I work in. Or a necklace and earrings from a chain jewelry store, think K or People's, 3 years in a row. Or nothing because they didn't have time or some nonsense, but they'll make it up to me later. This is different, men, but this is a pattern. And I've seen on socials that I'm not the only person who's been a victim of men giving thoughtless presents. I know women can be selfish and shit givers as well, but I'm straight, so I'm speaking about my experience with men, alright. And it seems like men tend to be worse at it from what I've seen/heard from other women. Today will determine how I give to him going forward, birthdays, anniversaries, and so on. I really hope he does well. I really do enjoy giving gifts and making PPL happy with them, but self-sacrifice is no longer something I'm willing to do, especially not during my favorite holiday. This is silly, I'm aware. But wish him luck, and may the odds be ever in his favor, because I'd love to give him both gifts if I'm being completely honest. But that's big wishful thinking on my part. Merry December 26th, y'all. Relevant comments. Danny Muse. I can see why this might seem fun, but it sounds like you're bringing grudges from previous relationships into a new one, which isn't healthy. Just have fun giving people gifts they'll like. If he gets you something you really don't like, then speak to him about it. Shattered_visage. For real, imagine how you'd feel exchanging gifts for the first time with a new partner and finding out that they had a good boy present and a low-effort present ready to go as a test/reward, all because they're still fixated on the perceived inequality of gifting in past relationships. Ick about other people, but I have enough self-respect to smile and nod through their gifting test and then leave a boyfriend-shaped dust cloud where I once was. And I still wouldn't take that frustration out on a future partner though, lol. Norms. I'm a guy who loves to read 2x posts so I can be a better partner. So grain of salt here, as I really want to respect your autonomy to make your own decisions in your relationship. Have you communicated to him that you are looking for someone who puts thoughtful effort into gift giving? Additionally, have you told him the type of gifts that you have received or desired that have made you feel like effort was given? I'm asking because it might help in the long run if you haven't communicated these things. Anyway, just a guy here, apologies for invading this space. I really respect your stance and intentions. I hope your expectations are exceeded. Boop. I appreciate your thoughtful question. Yes, we've discussed our past experiences with effort, gift giving, and reciprocity. This isn't just about Christmas or material gifts. We've even talked about how we plan our gifts, and for at least the past month, we've been sharing what we're getting for our families and friends, along with the reasons behind our choices. It seems like we have similar approaches to gifting. Now I just have to wait and see if that's true. He talks the talk, but does he walk the walk? We'll see. Midas Golden Touch. What if he does put effort into your gift, but it's something you don't want? Boop. I'd give him an A for effort, and he'd still get the better gift, if not both. I'd make use of whatever he gets, but I can't imagine him choosing something so off the mark that I wouldn't appreciate his effort. Even though my ex repeatedly gave me jewelry that I wasn't into, I still wore it because I knew it made him happy, and it was pretty regardless of whether I actually wanted it. Heuristic_Al. My wife and I used to both try very hard with the gifts. We knew each other very well and put lots of effort into what we got for the other person. We'd then spend hours wrapping them to get that perfect aesthetic. After many years though, we decided that the effort was better spent on different things. Also, I think we recognized that objects don't really make us happy. We've basically decentered gifts as part of the holiday. Things are less stressful, more fun, less expensive, and we have less clutter around the house. Boop. I'm totally cool with decentering gifts altogether someday, especially after being married for a while, because what is there really left to get, especially if you're giving multiple times a year? I prefer experiences over objects as is, since experiences could be for both of us and help keep our bond strong. Sounds like you and your wife have it figured out, and I love that, because it means you have a genuine understanding of each other and where you're at as unit. Tregus. It seems like you're not ready for a serious relationship. You probably need a year or more to get over your past and do some personal growth. Take a break from this guy and focus on yourself, because this kind of behavior is a bit toxic. Boop. Good news, everyone. He ended up getting the more thoughtful and better gift. I'll save the other one for his upcoming birthday. The gifts I got him were thoughtful and showed that I paid attention. Some of them even reminded me of the random questions he'd asked before, just to figure out what I'd like. He loved everything, especially the main gift. I always add a few small trinkets with a grand finale. His smile totally melted my heart. He was so happy and excited, with plenty of kisses. I didn't give him both gifts because I didn't want him to feel guilty or overwhelmed. He did ask how much I spent and how I found the gifts, and mentioned I shouldn't have spent so much because I often surprise him with random things. I just told him that I like to make the people I care about happy and make their lives easier. If I've got it, we've got it. Finally, yes, I did tell him later in the evening about this plan and the why, and before I could finish he said, given what you told me about your exes, I don't even blame you for doing something ridiculous, and we laughed and went back to talking and watching TV. So although I get why some PPL said this is so toxic, I truly hope you never understand the feeling I was trying to avoid. If you go back and read the comments, I explained more for those who actually wanted to listen. And I had every intention of telling him at some point either way, because we're pretty open with each other when it comes to our pasts and how it affected us. And with that, I admit maybe I'm a bit crazy. But if it keeps me from being let down or hurt, again, then I'll take being called crazy over crying in my apartment with my cat trying to rationalize why someone's inconsiderate adult son didn't feel the need to think of me, or why he didn't get me anything at all during the most wonderful time of the year. I hope everyone had the best holiday they could. And cheers to 2025. Relevant comments. OOP explains some of her past experiences. I remember one of my exes, our first and only Christmas together, since he ended up being a terrible BF after about a year. I even said let's not do gifts that year since money was tight for both of us. He insisted we do gifts, already had things in mind, and completely made me feel silly for proposing the idea. Christmas comes, lo and behold, he waits until after opening his gifts to say he never got around to shopping for mine. Oops. And for my birthday, nothing again. The same boy who practically begged me to give him a chance for years. SMH. Nina_QJ. I totally get what it's like to put so much thought and effort into a gift, only for your partner to give you something thoughtless in return. I'm really glad your partner wasn't like that, and that he took it well with humor. He sounds like a keeper. Opposite_ad 4567. Was this your first time exchanging gifts as a couple? I hope this helps reassure you that it doesn't have to be like this every holiday or milestone. Boop. Yep, it was our first Christmas and the first major milestone gift exchange. We made things official in September, and our birthdays are earlier in the year. I just wanted to see how he handles gifting and holidays, to figure out whether I should put effort into gifts or keep it really simple. I prefer going all out, but I didn't want to feel foolish again. So yeah, this was the first and last time for that kind of test. Research complete. Disco_Pat. And yes, later in the evening, I did tell him about this plan and why I did it. Before I could finish, he said, given what you've told me about your exes, I don't even blame you for doing something like this. We both laughed and then went back to watching TV. He said this out loud, but you know that this is absolutely a red flag about your character and how the relationship will continue. Bad gift/good gift based on his gift is absolutely ridiculous. If it matters that much to you if he didn't put any effort into your gift, then just reconsider whether or not it is a relationship you want to be in. Because I assure you, that is on his mind now. Night off kittens. Honestly, reading the original post gave me a strong negative reaction. I get that past relationships can leave you with emotional scars, but that's what therapy is for. Testing your partner like that is unhealthy in any relationship. If my partner did something like that and then told me about it, I'd be ending the relationship by New Year's. I'd be wondering what other tests they might have in store. Trujillo. I'm glad you mentioned that. It's not about constantly testing your partner, but the fact that one test is already a red flag. I'm sure if the roles were reversed, she'd be upset to find out he was secretly testing her to see if she measured up. While many guys are terrible, you can't bring your past baggage into a new relationship if you want it to work. Editor's note. OOP mentioned they had a great experience with gift giving during Christmas and seems happy in their relationship. Therefore, I will mark this as concluded.